Welcome back to another episode of the Real and Raw Show. On today's episode, we're going to discuss how to up level your real estate business with some small, simple steps. Now, this could be a 10-part series. I'm going to give you a little snippet of a few things that I would love for you to start doing that we actually have brought our real estate mastery coaching clients through the last few weeks, and it's still going on. You may ask, John, what is that thing that's helping them change their business? I will tell you, it is this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you could see it. Okay. This is a piece of paper I have in my hand called the 75 Shift Challenge. Now, you guys have probably all heard the 75 Hard Challenge. If you had it, and I'm telling you right now, this is a tremendous challenge, 75 Hard, and it's tremendously hard. It's an amazing way to start to change the way you really look at your body, how to actually transform your body, but it's all a mental game in the end. And this is done by Andy Frisella, who I had his wife on. I'm signed up with Arete, which is with our coaching company. Phenomenal people. But when it comes down to real estate, I found this as a huge problem. The little things aren't done. Not even that they're not done correctly. They're just not done. If you are somebody that needs to make phone calls, you're somebody that is in the business of making sales and takes phone calls to do so, I'm going to give you this challenge for you to do. And if you go ahead and message me on Instagram at Real John Marone, follow me, then message me, I'll send you this document as well and how to actually do it in content worlds, right? So what is the 75 Shift Challenge that we created for our real estate mastery clients? So let's talk about the S, which is skills. So as I'm recording this podcast, we got the Super Bowl this weekend. Seahawks versus the Patriots. I'm rooting for the Seahawks. Multiple reasons why. One is don't want the Patriots to win because they won too many with Tom Brady, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. Also Seahawks because that is our high school and our county or town team. So I got a lot of Seahawks gear, but it's for our Santa Rosa Beach County. So here's what I'll tell you. With the skill set of it, I talk about the Super Bowl because we are going to celebrate somebody on Sunday night to be the MVP, Super Bowl champs. We also have the Olympics coming up. We're going to celebrate people for their golds, for their silver, for their bronze. We're going to celebrate these people for these accolades. But what I notice with real estate agents is that we suck at practicing. We are not skilled enough to take ourselves to the finish line. We just aren't. When I think about Tom Brady, I had an interview with Heath Evans, who played with Tom Brady. He said that Tom Brady was different because he practiced like it was a championship game, and he was dedicated to practicing 7 days a week if that's what it took. So I think about us real estate agents, and let's be honest, how many days a week do you practice your craft? How many days a week are you practicing your craft? And when I do this in a live setting, by the way, I've trained over 16,000 real estate agents. What I've noticed is that less than 3% of the room pick up their hand and say, I practice at least 2 days a week. It's usually less than 1 day a week. I probably out of a room 100, get 3 or 4 people to raise their hand. And that's insane to me because you're financially not where you want to be, but yet your skill set, you're not working on. And you need a good skill set, a high level skill set in order to create the income you want. Write this down. If you want to increase your pay, increase your role play. If you want to increase your pay, increase your role play. If you have a result that you're looking for when it comes to closings and you're not masterful at getting the person to commit to work with you, you will not have a high likelihood of hitting that goal. You cannot sit here and tell me right now that you're ready for every opportunity. Because here's the fact, right, guys? With internet leads, 10% of people pick up. Knowing that 10% of people pick up, no matter how many people you call, know that 10% of people pick up. With that being said, are you ready for the opportunity? Are you ready for every opportunity to go ahead and be fluid in your craft to be able to take their just looking mentality into yes, let's set an appointment? And most real estate agents aren't skilled enough to do that. And they're not skilled enough because they don't practice enough. So if you want to increase your pay, increase your role play. That should be a non-negotiable. Here's another thing about that. Do you have kids? Think about it if you have kids, right? I got 2 amazing kids. If your kid wanted to be the best at something, sports, academics, right? Acting, singing, music, whatever. They want to be the best at something. We preach till we can't preach anymore. That you need to practice to be the best, son, daughter. Yet you right here listening are not practicing to be the best at your craft. So how dare we ask our children to hold themselves to a standard that we are not willing to do for ourselves? So if you want to raise your results, you raise your standards. You want to ask your kids to raise their standards, you better do the same thing. So if you want to increase your pay, increase your role play. Understand also that your standards that you're asking other people to keep and live up to, you better do the same thing. And this S part of our 75 shift is skills. So 15 minutes a day, role play. So that's a part of the challenge. So I ask everybody 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, role play. So we're just using 5 days a week as a baseline here. 5 days a week, role play 15 minutes a day. I bet you that just this past week, you have spent more time scrolling than skill building. You spent more time consuming than creating. So don't get mad at the end of the year when you didn't hit your goals, when you took the time to scroll and consume and not to create skill sets and create content. Making sure that we are asking other people to hold themselves to a standard, we do the same for ourselves. So that's the first part. Okay. So that, once again, it's on here. S is going to be skills. The next part of the shift is the H, which is health, So in this challenge, we ask everybody to drink at least a half gallon of water. That's pretty simple. It's pretty easy, but some of you guys aren't doing that. We're asking you to do 20 minutes a day of working out, whatever that looks like. It could be running. It could be actually working out. It could be calisthenics. 20 minutes a day, get the body moving. And then wake up at the said time that you said you wanted to wake up. So for our health aspect of it, are you currently doing that? 20 minutes workout, half a gallon of water, and waking up when you said you're going to wake up. So that's the H part. Once again, as I'm going through these, you could see here, okay? If you're on YouTube, you could see it, okay? Now, the I aspect of that, okay, is going to be intentional, okay? It is going to be intentional. And when I say intentional, right, that means intentionally making our calls. So what we ask is 35 dials a day. That's it. Now, some of you, God, I don't have 35 leads. Well, there are many opportunities to go ahead and get leads for free or low dollar. If you don't have leads and you're not door knocking, you don't want leads that bad. If you don't have leads and you're not asking other agents for open houses, you don't want leads that bad. If you don't have leads and you're not digging through your MLS to call expireds, you don't want leads that bad. For those that do have leads, 35 a day. Let's do some math here. 35 a day is 175 for the week. If we're doing 5 days a week, 700 dials. Out of 700 dials, 10% of people pick up. That is 70 people pick up. Now, what's your conversion rate from there? You can go back and watch some of our episodes where we give you the best scripts that you could use for that. But also, intentionality means we're asking for the appointment at least one time throughout the day. So we have 35 dials a day, 5 days a week, and then we are asking for the appointment at least one time throughout the day. Whatever that looks like. And honestly, once you know that's the goal, usually the first person you talk to, you're finding a way to ask for the appointment. And I will tell you, it gets much easier. If you make a goal to ask the appointment at least one time a day, what you'll find out is that every time you talk to somebody that day after that call or after that interaction, it becomes a lot easier to ask for an appointment. And the reason that is because you built a pattern off of this is what I do, and you did the hard thing first. So it gets a lot easier to ask for it. So we not only call 35 people a day, but we also ask for the appointment at least one time that day. And 1 normally turns to 2, 2 turns to 4, and so on. And that's what I've noticed too. A lot of real estate agents, you're not even making the attempt to make calls. John, they haven't logged into my site in months. Doesn't mean they're not logged into somebody else's. John, they haven't reached out to me. Doesn't mean they're not trying to reach out to somebody else. We got to make sure if our results are low, our effort is high. Let me say that again. If your results are low, we have to increase our effort. Results are low, effort high. So right now, if you're in your business and your results are low, I'm asking you, can you raise your effort? Because some of you want these results and your effort is low, and it does not correlate. The next piece is the F. The F is feedback. Another huge piece that I see people miss in life in general is that we don't reflect enough. Because if we don't reflect, then we can't direct. We're not self-aware enough. And I live and love this quote. Self-awareness is the starting point for growth and a checkpoint for progress. But if you're not doing it intentionally, your self-awareness will come too late. When you're 20 pounds overweight, when your debt is yay high and your efforts that low. So we got to be intentional with the way we reflect. And I'll give you a very simple way to do that. You ask 3 questions at the end of every single day. Where did I win? Where did I miss? And what do I need to fix? Plain and simple. And what you'll find is when you ask, hey, where did I win? You'll start writing stuff down that you didn't even realize was a win at the time. The little things that add up to be the big thing. Where did I miss? It's time to get real, because a lot of us aren't real with ourselves. You can't change what you don't confront. So we have to ask ourselves, where did I miss today? And be real with ourselves so we can get real tactics. For the next question to ask yourself is, how am I going to fix it? And so when you ask yourself, where did I miss, or what am I going to fix, or how am I going to fix it? You'll find yourself making faster changes, creating an acceleration to the results you want. But if you're not taking the time to ask yourself that question, it's going to be almost too late for you to make the change, because the year is going to be over, because the debt is going to be high, because your weight's going to be way more than you want to be. Your relationship is going to be poor with communication. And so don't complain that you're not where you want to be if you have not taken the time to ask yourself, where did I win? Where did I miss? And what do I need to fix in my life, in my business, in my health every single day? And when you become that self-aware, you start to make faster changes. Faster changes creates an acceleration to the result you're aiming for. So that is F. Now, T is tracking. Tracking. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Amazon. Let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about some of the biggest companies in the world. They track and measure things so they can make faster changes, so they can see what's working, what's not working, so they know where their time is best spent. Therefore, they create a super successful company. Yet in your business, are you tracking like you should be? Are you tracking your numbers to be able to make the changes in the amount of time you need to make the changes in order to get there? Don't tell me you're running a business if you can't tell me your numbers. And that is just the truth. Some of you aren't even running a business, but yet you have an LLC. Some of you think you're running a business because you have an LLC. But the truth of the matter is, just because you have an LLC and just because you have a business doesn't mean you run a business. Show me your numbers and I'll believe that you have a business. Tracking needs to be a non-negotiable in your business in order to get the results you want, in order to have much deeper insight on what needs to change, on where your time is best spent, where your money is best spent, where your attention is best spent. We have to start tracking. And for real estate agents out there, we track simple things. Success comes through simplicity and through speed. So we track how many dials, how many contacts, how many appointments set, how many appointments kept. And then here's the greatest part. When you start to track, within 90 days, If you brought it to somebody like myself, we could look at those numbers and reverse engineer exactly what you need to be doing at those current numbers to get the results that you want. For an example, I know I'm looking up at my board up here. I need, let's see, for each month, I need 586 dials. That gets me 47 appointments. I'm sorry, that gets me, so 586 dials gets me 47 spoke to. 47 spoke to get me 7 appointments and 3 that are serious. That's at the current rate that we're at. But if you don't know that, how are you going to know exactly if your effort is where it needs to be, if your energy is being placed where it needs to be? So if you also want our tracking sheet, I'll send it to you. If you're really going to use it, I'll send it to you. Okay. DM me on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is at Real John Marone. Facebook is Jonathan Marone, Jonathan. Message me. Say, listen to your episode. I would love the tracker, and I'll get it to you. Okay. Because a lot of us think we're running a business, but the truth of the matter is that we have a business, but we're not running a business. We don't know our numbers. We don't know where our best time needs to be in this area, that area. We're all over the place. And we're guessing until we track. After 90 days, we get some actual understanding of that data. Then we can make our changes. Then we can say, okay, we need to be here. I need to spend more time here. I need to spend more money here, less money here. I need to dial more here. I need to get better at my skill set there. And business becomes a lot easier to predict. So if you want more of a predictable business and more of a scalable business, tracking is something that you should be doing on a daily basis so that you understand the data that drives the results. And if you're not doing that, you just have a business. You're not running a business. So if you want that tracker that we're using, DM me and I will go ahead and send it to you. So that is our challenge. That is a shift challenge. Skill set 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Habits for our health, drinking a half a gallon of water. We're doing 20 minutes of working out, waking up when we said we're going to wake up. Intentionality, 35 dials a day, 5 days a week, asking for at least 1 appointment a day. F is going to be for feedback every day. Hey, where did I win? Where did I miss? And what do I need to fix? And then T is tracking. So we understand our numbers and we can start to scale our business, create predictable revenue, and actually see where we need to make the changes or spend more time in order to make sure the time that we have to work on our business and in our business, we're using it wisely. So there you have it, guys. That's the 75 shift challenge. I wanted to give it to everybody on here because it is changing some of our agents' entire business. And here's the last thing I'll say to that. Have you ever done a challenge, like a weight loss challenge before? And you did it, you lost the weight, and then the challenge is over. 3 months later, you gain the weight back, right? It happens all the time. And the reason why it happens is because you're doing it as a challenge, and then you go back to your old ways. The reason why this challenge, the 75 shift challenge, is so powerful is because it's the small things. It's not this big workout for 2 hours a day, twice a day type of situation where it's not sustainable. This challenge is sustainable. And because it's sustainable, it's creating a new DNA and new patterns that actually can exist in any lifestyle. So the 75 shift challenge that we give to our real estate mastery clients is something that creates a new DNA because it's sustainable long after the challenge is gone in order to create a lifestyle of new habits to obtain the goals that you have. So if you want it, reach out to me. Would love to connect with you. I want to make sure everybody on here knows that we are on YouTube, as I said before. So go subscribe, John Marone, subscribe to it. You're going to get all the videos. We'll put some shorts out there. We're going to obviously increase our content coming on YouTube. Send this out to a fellow friend of yours if you saw some value today. But in order to shift our business and shift our lifestyle, I highly suggest reaching out to me, and I'll give you this document and you can go execute it and see your DNA and your patterns start to change for sustainable growth. I appreciate you guys. Can't wait to hear all the feedback and see what you guys are doing out there. Go crush it. And as always, don't wait for the door of opportunity to open. Go kick that damn door down and take what is yours. We'll see you guys next time.